levels to it.
We're recording.
Okay, thank you. We'll go ahead, we'll open the meeting, and I'd like approval of the draft minutes of March 26th, please.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
any discussion?
Yeah.
All in favor?
No, this is
We're
the
the minutes
The
already.
treasurer's
you know,
report.
if we
and
say
invoices,
you're forming a swear words
correct.
Glenn, do you have
your
any,
users, you need to start paying
any,
us.
thing we
Then
need
they
to
can
talk
pay.
about on the treasurer's report?
Treasurer's report,
I know you're gonna. say
oh,
it.
the only thing is there under the Cooperstown savings account. What's the balance, what's available? That 200,000 difference is what we've pledged as match to the IRP 5 loan program, if that gets approved. So we just kind of set that aside.
Okay.
Other than that, I don't think I have any extra notes.
Okay. Any concerns on the loan report? I mean, there's.
Okay, so, our lunch is here. Do you mind going out and getting it, Sean?
Okay.
Well, it's Amanda. You at least know Amanda, so she'll, my daughter's our delivery person today. Okay. So yeah, let's go down the IDA, and we're just gonna go down the past due one. The first one, it's not necessarily past due. They're on a deferment. We're just tracking what the balance is. They were potentially going to come in with a loan for this month for some extra money. They're in the process of expanding, but that didn't happen, so it'll probably be next month. The next one on the list, they just got current. So that was just receipts that just came in this week, so it's not reflected in this report. Third one down on the list, our friends in deposit. They were looking to sell the facility. That was hot and heavy. December, January, fell apart in mid-January. There's a new player in town. Within 30 days, there should be deals of what that is going to be. This was per response that Evan got from the owner. At that time, just to forestall some bad news, there's probably going to be a request that we take at least a part, not at least, that we take some type of partial loss, which we've also talked about potentially being a land swap. So that's still out in limbo. Evan was going to reach back out to him and be like, okay, that's fine, but what about coming back to making payments in the interim? Then the next one on the list is with our attorney. The one down in Mike's neighborhood, we just need to make a call and say, you know, it happens. They fall a month or two behind, we get a lump sum payment. So that's just a call down there to get them back on. The one in, all right, so now on the LDC side, just because that's out of habit. The first one is in Andy's neck of the woods. And again, that's just a call we have to follow up with. Our other friends in deposit, we've been trading some calls. They're in the process of getting caught up. I'm not worried about them at all. Down further, or the next one down on the list, they take 3 months off. It's built into their amortization schedule. They were supposed to come back on in April. This happened last year too. We failed to remind them, and they came back on. I meant to talk to Evan about this earlier this week, but I just lost track of it. So this is essentially their first payment due of the new year, and just got, hey, remember us? And then they're good for it. The next one down, which is a tough account, Evan has finally made contact. We've tried to reach out a number of times. He understands he's behind. He wants to set up a meeting with us to talk about coming back on and potentially what type of flexibility we may have in restructuring the loan. There was family health issues, then COVID. The owner is now back to work and revenues are going to start coming in. We're going to sit down, talk with him. We may have to do, some reduced payments for a little bit as he gets the business back up and running, and then back to there. So we are making progress on that. The last one on the list, on my notes, it just says typical. They typically pay the last week of each month. I don't know if they think they're paying for the month forward or whatever, but I've been in communication with this business because they're going to come up later under LDC, and I'll talk more about it then. So that's what I had for the loan report.
And does anybody have any concerns on?
Oh, I'm sorry. I stole your thunder. Evan was going to do two of them. Sorry. I just went right on down the list.
Makes my job easier.
Anybody have any concerns on the invoices?
No,
Okay, may I have a?
So moved.
Whoops, thank you. Second.
Thanks.
Any discussion on the financial reports? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, thank you. The next item is the pipeline, and we were going to talk about had a consent order on there. We kind of beat the pipeline to death.
Yeah,
But I think we need to have a motion to move forward with the sewage transportation.
So moved.
second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any recent leaks?
Glenn, next
I don't
steps
want
with
to answer that
DEC,
question.
anything that you wanted to add?
I'm sorry, on what?
And you said DEC next steps.
Oh, yeah, no, that we just talked about it. I was gonna break it down into two. I didn't get a chance to talk to Kevin this morning. I got my second shot. I'll probably feel like crap later. But yeah, so I just broke it down that way, because there's what we're doing with DEC and then there's moving forward. But now they're so intertwined, it's just pipelines should be.
Thanks. Let's move on and do 808 loan.
Okay, so
increase.
that one fell off and I apologize for doing this, but I'm going to hand out a new request today. Jim, you and I talked about this on Wednesday. Jim said, don't bring it. And then I got another call last night begging us to look at it.
Is this the food truck?
No. This is Catskill Regional Harvest.
But before we get started in that.
Oh, yeah.
On 808,
That's what I was
Yeah.
talking about, 808, isn't
Oh.
that?
yes, that's a food truck.
So you and Mark can follow along.
Yesterday, I sat through this presentation from,
Oh,
who did that?
I was wondering why I had
They were
it.
talking about the Federal Restaurant Revitalization Fund,
Yes,
and I think it was SBA that did it.
yes.
And I I printed out the guidelines for the thing. The 808 is clearly eligible for this,
Mhm.
for help, and this is a grant.
Yep, Evan, you made a list. How many did you come up with?
135 restaurants so far I have.
135 so far identified in the county. He's going to be in touch with all of them.
Good.
That's not open yet, though, is it?
No,
No,
Okay.
any day the application.
any day or
Because I
any
printed
month.
the sample application out.
And how much funding can they get?
It's a percentage of revenue loss, difference between 19 and 20 revenues,
But it's the amount, the limit,
500,000.
right, and then if you own more than one location, it's $1 million or something.
Yeah.
What's the difference between that and PPP?
You don't pay this back. They just give you the
This is
money.
a grant in the first
Yeah,
place.
right there.
Yeah.
Right, but
Now,
I love this country.
if you did get the PPP,
Yeah, where's the
though,
money gonna
you have
come
to
from?
subtract
Yeah,
that
right.
amount
Right.
from the grant you.
Right.
Yeah, if you got one or both of the other PPPs, that gets subtracted from what you're eligible for in this grant. So there's one restaurant I know specifically that their PPE loans, they got two, are greater than their losses. So they won't be eligible for this program. So it's going to be each and every
Mm.
restaurant will have to look at it differently.
But most of the PPP loans should be forgiven. There
Right.
shouldn't be any.
Yeah,
reason
yeah.
why
So
they're
they,
not.
yeah, so they're
So
essentially,
technically, they're
Yeah.
a grant.
they're at least not giving you two grants for the same thing.
Right.
But yeah, so our plan for that, Evan's gonna be putting this stuff out on all the social media and our website. He's gonna try to either go around to, which we'll talk about later, or call each of these restaurants, make them aware of it, let them know of the two SBDC centers that serve our area, as well as that our office would be available to help them as well.
It's being passed around to most of the restaurants already.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they know this stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they called me to tell me,
Yeah.
look this up and read it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay, thanks.
But, I did the same thing with the New York grant fund
Mhm.
that, didn't wind up being much, but I think there's still gonna be restaurants that don't know about this, and that's who you need.
Probably,
know.
yeah.
Get Delaware County some money,
Good idea.
Sir, without making a lot of extra work, could you tell us like who's in my area? I mean, there's 2 or 3 restaurants in the whole town.
Yeah, I don't have the Excel sheet.
I'm not
with
gonna
me.
ask you,
Yeah,
Yeah, well, let's do that. Let's send out
yeah.
the
Yeah,
restaurants
absolutely.
in everybody's town.
Yeah,
Because maybe we've missed some and they
I
can be like,
bet
oh,
it's-
yeah, you forgot about the Long River Inn or something.
Yep.
Well, I think
And
I'd be
the
happy to
other
do
thing
that.
I think is that, from what I'm hearing, that they're expecting that all of the applications are gonna be gobbled up real.
yes,
fast.
No,
yeah.
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 exactly. That's why I just want to get the word
So,
out as
I-
quick
I
as
And just so you
possible.
know, I'm gonna stop in at the Dewdrop personally.
Let the board members help you out on that,
Do
Alright,
drop in.
okay?
They still let the coon dogs come in there in the winter and warm up next to the wood stove?
It's a
I haven't-
family atmosphere, Mike.
I haven't been
Every
in
time I'm
there-
in the area, I stop by.
Rustic.
Yep.
I haven't been in there
I
in
love that place.
35 years.
Still going.
Are you there
I
on a
know.
first name basis? Bud?
Not yet, but some of the people I go with usually are. Okay, so on to, we're in public, right? So I'm just gonna walk carefully. If there's questions that we need to go into executive on, we can. I think I can do this in public though. Okay, so Catskill Regional Harvest. We have a loan with them. Their balance is indicated in the notes, I believe. Well, I guess that's public information too. So they have a small existing loan with us. We also have an outstanding line of credit with them that'll be due to be paid off at the end of this year. They had a great year last year. Their revenues increased by 438%. They want to capitalize on that with this year. They've been open, they're open year round now, but their really hot season is coming up right in May and will go through the late fall. As part of what they're looking to do, they want to scale up their establishment there, expand their cafe, have a tasting facility for beer, wine, and cider, which they have received a license for, and I believe they did get their approval from the town for site plan. So they're regulatorily, they're allowed to do it. There's some improvements that need to be done. That's on the second page of the handout, roughly $21,000 worth of some renovations, mostly equipment, and then a small amount of working capital. There's multiple ways I'm sorry, Florida. I finished writing this at 10:50 which was why I was late to the meeting. So you'll just have to take my word for it.
I'll take your word for it. You're good for it.
So there's a couple ways they could have just applied for a loan, but Nicole feels there's no need to enter into a 3 to 5 year loan. She wants to pay off any new funds this year. She could come to us for the line of credit. She could fund it through credit cards. She doesn't believe she has the ability to fund it through cash flow because everything's coming up now. Although she did send out her P&L to date, which showed that did make it in there. Yes, that's on the 3rd page. So she does have decent net income to date. It's actually a little lower than that because there was 3 weeks worth of salary that wasn't included in that, but it's still healthy there. But yet with everything coming on and what she wants to do with inventory and things like that, she's worried that if she tried to just cash flow this, she would just completely wipe out her cash flow. She won't have enough inventory and everything like that. She's kind of heading off the issue of putting it on credit card. I've talked to her about the need to graduate from our type of financing, and she agrees with that. And this would be kind of one, I'll use the Michael Jordan thing. It would be her last dance with us. If we did, that's just the way my mind works. I'm sorry. If we did advance her this. So basically at the end of the day, looking to increase her existing line of credit, which is $10,000, by an additional $20,000. Terms would be interest only on what each month she would be billed interest only on what is outstanding. The whole lump sum, the 10 and the new 20, payable by December 31st of 21. That's essentially the story.
Very pleasant. If not, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
Any other discussion?
Can you make the terms a little longer than December of this year?
I can, but this is what she said she would like them to be. I think I talked to her about it. I'm like, look, you're gonna have a lump sum payment due at the end of December as you enter into the worst part of your season.
First time season.
I've talked to her about it and I agree. I don't think it's a great idea, but she thinks by only having the interest only payments, she'll be able to set aside each month some money. And then when it happens, it won't be a big deal. Either that or come whatever, December 8th or December 20th at our last meeting of the year, we'll be asked for an extension.
Glenn, would it make sense to do an amortization that expires in 22, December 22 or 21?
I've tried to push it out. I mean,
Yeah, but-
honestly, but she doesn't want to.
Yeah, but you
She's
can't
been
do it.
adamant
She
that
can prepay.
She could pay it off in December if she wants to.
There's no penalty for prepayment.
Right,
Okay.
but you can't do an amortization schedule when it's gonna vary every month
Oh.
based on the principal amount of the line of credit.
Why don't
So you
just buy
can't
the
do
building
that.
from us?
that's coming.
So
Can
That's
we
within a year.
just, can I give her a call today?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, I just think that if she wants to prepay and pay in November, December, that's great. But I think she's doing herself in the business of the service of not doing it till next year, giving herself some room. And she's been doing great, and I think we can support her for a couple more months.
all right, so I'll make the motion subject to the terms here or what's negotiated
All right,
out
so-
for a longer term.
Well, Florida, what term are you thinking?
I think it should be until the beginning of her next busy season, which should end April or May of next year. If she wants to pay in December, that's great.
Another
But
thing.
but it'd be to the beginning of the next busy season for her.
All right, so how about we just say we amend it to be, is there 30 days or 31 in April?
30.
Okay, due by 4/30/22, and she has the option to pay it off by the end of the year.
There you go.
Okay. That works.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
I mean, she can pay it off at any time.
Yeah,
Right.
we
Right.
don't have a
At the end of the year.
prepayment for
Right, it's a line
anything.
of credit.
We do not.
Right.
Okay, Glenn, hidden in.
Okay, just update on that. I forget where we were last meeting, but yes, oh yeah, so everything's fine. The heat is on. Water is running. There was some issue with the pipes in terms of, some hot and cold water, but that wasn't necessarily required for getting the utilities on. So that portion of it wasn't our expense. So where we are right now is that the person we were going to lease the property to is just going to outright buy it. Did I mention that before? Or is this
Yes.
new? Okay, yeah. So they're working with a local bank. The property was appraised. The appraisal report was due this week, but with Lonnie, that probably means sometime next week. And at this point, they're expecting, I've spoken to both the bank and the lender, that the bank is expecting to approve this for the full amount necessary to complete all of the renovations to get up and running, the full amount, as well as buying the IDA out.
Fantastic.
Purchasing us out would, it will cover all of our costs. That's what our price would be, is everything we've put into it, including what we paid for insurance and an estimate of what our final bill for having a lawyer represent us at closing.
And
All those costs, all the way paid up through.
and we don't own it anymore, so.
And we don't own it anymore.
That's really, really good for us. But I'll tell you what happened is the other guy pushed him into going borrowing money from the bank to do all the things that we were trying to protect against. So although it's good for us, I don't know how much good it is for the.
Yeah, he's, there was a go slow approach or there was a jump whole hog approach. He went whole hog. We tried to recommend slow, but he wanted to just jump right in. And that was his
I talked to
choice.
him 3 different times.
Right, because we had options for financing for the go slow approach. And now he's gotten full financing for jumping right in.
When will it be open?
He was hoping to be open by the end of June. Depending on when this happens, it's going to be tight.
So we will get some of the summer.
Yes,
season.
he will get some of the summer season.
Great.
Yeah.
That'll be good. Good project. We can pull this off.
Hughes Energy, just to keep this fresh in your mind, nothing really new other than that they're working on our applications for a pilot and potentially IDA bond financing. I got an update from the local representative just a week ago. He said that they're still perfecting what their financing structures. So I've been talking to them about tax benefits and things like that to help them complete the application. They're trying to get their financing more definitive to put into the application. I expect we'll have it next month.
Good. Okay. Audits.
Yeah, so the audits went out, under the IDA side. There's 2 things that I wanted to mention there is obviously we had another decrease in assets this year. This is still from the program income rule of 2019. So right now our assets are down, over $1 million. We're probably going to take another $300,000 to $400,000 loss. Well, our assets are down $1 million respective to this. That's not the only thing affecting our assets, but we're down around $1 million because of that. We have about $300,000 to $400,000 that we'll have to absorb in hits in 2021. Which is, the loan write-offs and then the money we had on hand that we put out as forgivable loans. All of those things will be worked through the process this will be the last year of it.
Right, but it's really not a loss. It's a decrease in.
Well,
our
it shows
assets.
that I look at our assets and our net position goes down. I'm like, oh, geez, they're gonna fire me. So I just want to let you know why our net assets are going down.
But it's a decrease in asset because of a choice this board made.
Yeah,
Right. Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's what's caused
Yeah.
it.
This
It was
board-
the only choice we had.
right, we didn't have a,
Well,
And
we chose the best of our options.
Right.
Yes.
And the other option
The best
was
for the
our
county.
assets still would have decreased, but we would have given the money to the state.
Right.
So
Instead of giving it
it
to Delaware
business
County
owners.
businesses. Yes.
So I don't consider it
Yep.
actually a loss.
Yeah, okay, and then the other one is just, it shows up in the board report regarding the end of year payables and receivables. This year, there was a ton, and I don't know if I included them in there. There were some things on our books that they had miscategorized. We have a number of equipment leases we have, one with Catskill Regional Harvest, one with Holdridge's Farm, one with Max Tavern. They had assumed they were our assets rather than having been purchased and leased. And so they were depreciating them rather than amortizing them. And so there was that. But anyway, so that's come up a couple times and about our need to prepare those. I've reached out to, you remember Wendy Hunt? She used to work for, she's back in the area now. She's the one who taught me how to use QuickBooks and originally set up all of our books in that. She's moved back into the area and I've already, enlisted her, December of next year. She's going to come in. She's going to do all of our payables and receivables and then help Tabitha and I over time. I'm not saying we'll be after 1 year, we'll be able to do it, be able to have all those recorded in a more timely basis. The issue with doing it with Manzanero and Scott is because it's a conflict, because they're our auditors. They can't
Right.
also do bookkeeping with us.
Yeah.
Why it took them 4 years to tell me that instead of always telling me, oh yeah, we'll do that for you. Yeah, just remember to contact us in the fall. And they're like, oh no, we're too busy or whatever. No, tell me the truth that it's a conflict and you can't do it, but whatever. So those are the two things I wanted to mention under the audit for the IDA.
Well, we got.
Yeah, LDC under LDC. Okay, now I just have a couple small items I'd like to just whip off if that's okay. Oh, I mentioned the Saputo Job Fair, yet it didn't meet their need, but I think we, for a one-day thing, it was very good. And I think we showed them that the OET is capable. This, I just find this one a little funny. ACO has reached out to OET to help them find some new employees, 50 employees by June and another 50 by August. I just wanted, I just wanted to mention that. They just laid off a bunch of people. They're hiring people back, but through temp agencies.
How many are 75, is that 50?
100 all told
Wow.
by the end of summer. Yeah.
A little different than the calls we had
Yeah.
the last 2 months.
Yep.
Full circle, Andy.
Yep. Full circle.
Yeah, but they probably have some big order and then they'll just let them.
Which is
all
good,
go.
which is very good.
Yeah. The one thing I wanted to mention is the Entrepreneur Academy. We've talked about it a number of times and providing scholarships. And there was a couple, with this last one, there are 2 women from the Hancock area that are going. They didn't get scholarships
surprise.
from us. The Martha, used to be Brower, I forget what her name is now. Martha Ryan had a grant to support women in business, so she was able to make them out of there. But so there was a couple times in the past, and then it happened twice before this last class, where I would get an email, I don't want to say from who, saying, is so-and-so's scholarship approved? And I never knew who so-and-so was. So I reached out to Martha directly, and what we're going to do is each time she's going to operate this class, she's going to put in a Delaware County IDA scholarship opportunity. Anybody who clicks on that and submits that form, it comes directly to me.
Good.
And so it will be an ongoing thing. I've told her we're probably, not going to do multiple scholarships every class. We'll, pick and choose, and it'll, and we'll handle it that way. So I think in the future, it'll at least be a little bit more structured.
I think we approved 5. We were talking about 10.
Yeah, I
We
think
only
we
approved
5 over the
5
course of the year.
that
Yeah.
we had available.
Yep. So we'll do that. One thing I just wanted to mention, just because, we are in tricky times, with this restaurant revitalization grant, and then also in general, getting out and visiting businesses. We're seem to be relaxing a little bit with COVID. We'd still follow the protocols in terms of wearing masks and whatever. But what does the board think about us resuming on-site visits to businesses?
Yeah,
Good idea.
definitely.
As long as they're comfortable with
Right,
it.
as long as you call, reach out and they
Right.
approve someone coming.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Do we just want to run? We don't want to, I don't know.
We
Some
don't need to
people feel-
formalize that, just.
No, it's just, hey, we're thinking of doing it. Are you guys okay with it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Business owner doesn't have.
Do you need more of us to participate in that?
Anybody who wants to is always welcome.
Florida's
Those are
looking for something to
expensive.
do.
Yeah, if you're interested, Florida, yeah, that would be great. Just contact us and we'll give you some in your area that you might be interested in.
That's fine. I think it's important for them to know, how much we support them. And sometimes, you go visit them and you learn more of their needs. And it gives us a better understanding of who they are and how they operate, as opposed to just looking at a piece of paper at times.
Right.
So, it shows our support for them. And I think it'll be a good thing for us and them.
Run for office.
Nah.
Okay, yeah, that's great. I'm gonna make a note of that.
That she's running for office?
Do drop in yourself, I mean.
Oh, obviously, I'll do the dewdrop. Yes.
Make sure you wear your hillbilly clothes.
We tried that one time, right, George?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna skip a couple. They're not that big. But one I wanted to mention came up in core group, and it involves our friends at DEP, is the Streamside Acquisition Program. That's where the city would start targeting parcels that had, were you on the last core group call?
No, I wasn't there, but.
But so
I
you know the issue better than I do. So I'm just going to introduce it and then I'll let Bruce talk to it. So new land acquisition program is targeting properties that are along streams. When Delaware County was, and Sean's here too. Yeah, sure. Just you go do with it.
So the Streamside Acquisition Program was established through the 2007 FAD. It was originally piloted in the Schoharie Basin only. It was largely to date unsuccessful for a variety of different reasons.
Sean, that microphone is not picking you up. Can you come closer, please?
Sure. So it's piloted in the Schoharie Basin. What it is it's kind of an evolution of the land acquisition program, so the DEP can acquire parcels within the villages or the hamlets that have obviously along a stream or river. Let's see. So obviously that would negatively or potentially have negative impacts to sustainable growth and development in our communities.
That's what they're looking for.
In 2017, it was adopted for the entire watershed, but there's been challenges, legal challenges. So currently, the planning department's working on a white paper, which evolves the program or transitions the program into the ability of the DEP to lease as opposed to purchase parcels that are either the riparian zone right along the river rather than the entire parcel. And that has that will allow the upland parcels to remain unattached, available for development, and the owners would be tasked with keeping up with the property as opposed to the city buying them and then not taking care of them or having the ability to take care of them. So it would be more like a CREP kind of program. It's consistent with the National Academy recommendations. It would allow for, those parcels to stay on the taxes for growth and development.
Okay, it boils down to is they could lease or purchase only the undevelopable part of the property. So piece down by the river where you can't put nothing anyway. And that's the only part they can, leaving the developable piece for residential, commercial, whatever. So it was part of a trade-off onto them stop purchasing land everywhere and just buying every piece up they could. And these are pieces that most of the time you can't use. Part of the issue is though that we're still concerned with being able to put services through them, sewer lines, electric lines, whatever. So that part still needs to be negotiated.
And like
out a
walking
little.
trails too,
Right.
they'd have to be allowed.
So
There's other challenges too in that, or one of the problems with the program as it is now is that for the city just to acquire those riparian zones or low-lying areas, those aren't legal lots of record. They
Right.
don't have, they don't conform to subdivision regulations. They don't have, for example, frontage,
Right.
lot size,
Yeah.
or any of those sorts of regulations.
so it's
This easement method circumvents that.
right. We're pushing for the easement where they rent it with a time period or lease it
20 years.
20 years or 25 years so that it's not forever. That's the problem we have with it. Everything they do is forever. And
Is the city
we don't
found a
want
way of
that.
being able to lease land? Because I know that was an issue when we first brought this up. They said they couldn't use their funding to lease.
Well, that's part of all that's being fought. And when the pilot program started, it was ridiculous. I mean, they were buying lots that, the group that was buying came and said, well, this one parcel we bought because nobody would buy it. Well, that's not part of the deal here. And they were trying to buy the whole lot and take the developable piece out. Or you have to get a variance because there's not enough on the piece left to be able to put a house because you can't meet boundary line adjustments and all of that, or boundary lines. So there's a lot to it. So I don't think it's going to go as quick and easy as everybody hopes it
I
will.
don't think it'll go all that fast, but I think it will lead up to obviously the next FAD negotiation and be on that kind of time.
Maintenance would be an issue against erosion too. Suppose you got a piece with a stream coming in and it starts to erode out the bank and starts coming in on the property they haven't leased.
Well,
You're
yeah,
gonna be
but,
able to get across it, or you're gonna be able to repair it.
right, and that's all be part of it. There's gonna have to be a right of, and we don't even know if this will be acceptable because most of these parcels won't have road frontage, which
Right.
doesn't conform to anybody's regulations anywhere. Even if you don't have regulations, or you can't have totally
Those are the
landlocked.
flaws with the stream acquisition program, right? And so this
So if they lease it,
potential program
then it's just a matter of,
It's like buying a right of way.
yep,
essentially an
Yeah.
ability to, do improvements or mitigations or, those sorts of things.
It sounds like it's good step forward.
It sounds that way.
But yeah, I just wanted to mention it because it is gonna be something
It'll come up.
that'll come up, yeah.
Anything else? Good. Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved.
Second,
Open the meeting, the LDC, I need approval of the draft minutes, 3/26,
so moved.
second.
Second.
and all in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to accept the financial reports, the three of them.
3, so accept.
Second. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
And we need to do, we have a loan application from the Watershed Roxbury.
Okay, this one's me. Yeah, so what we have are two guys, Andrew and Peter. Andrew used to, well, I think I can do this without going into executive session. The one used to live in Roxbury. I guess he was a pretty big community leader, used to hold some events. He told me one of, decorate your storefront the best you can and the winner gets a prize, stuff like that. He used to run public house, operate public house, own and operate. Now he's coming back with his partner, Peter. Peter also has experience operating cafes, hospitality businesses, and they're gonna purchase Roxbury's front porch. Does everybody know which property I'm talking about? Yeah, okay. So they're gonna operate it as a cafe, but they're also gonna get a liquor license, and they're gonna rent out short-term rentals. I think there's gonna be like 4 short-term rentals. One of them right now, they have a lease for an apartment. I think they're just gonna wait to see what that person does. So they have income through that, short-term rentals, and then there is a small space to possibly lease to a retail tenant. They're not, they don't want to use that space. They want to lease it to a new business to Roxbury. That's not even part of their cash flow right now because they don't have any offers. So they both know what they're getting into and they still want to do it, which is always good to know about, operating a restaurant or a cafe. And, to, I think, make it a little bit easier, this is just a gap loan. The main portion of this loan, $200,000, is getting funded through Wayne Bank's Oneonta/Cooperstown office. And so they like the loan. And then the owner's putting in a lot of equity herself.
Wasn't this, there was like a general store involved with this, or was that a different one?
That's a different one. That's
That's a
gonna be
different
like
one.
2 buildings
Two
down.
buildings
So
down?
there's, Roxbury is gonna be popping this summer.
And they did do a great job when they.
The public house, yeah.
Yeah.
There really isn't any other dining
No.
facilities.
And you have the fancy
Chappies.
hotel
There's
over
Chappies.
there.
Right down the street.
It fits
yeah.
right
And
into,
they're
And they work
planning
well
on
with them.
serving breakfast, lunch, and then eventually dinner
Yeah.
with drinks.
Yeah, but right now, there is nobody selling breakfast
Right,
around
at
there.
the gas station.
That's right, yeah. Sorry.
The Angel guy was an architect in Los Angeles just before he came back here. He was from here originally.
Yeah,
He came back. I met him and his partner, Peter, seemed like very reasonable people.
Yep.
In fact, we had lunch at Gabby's.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Second, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Glenn, you want to cover Scotch Valley Ranch?
Yeah, okay, so, yeah, that one I was at least able to send out ahead of time, rather than just dropping it on your desk. So, yeah, Scotch Valley Ranch Hemp, their business is just starting to find its way through the hemp business. doing well. I never got the promised 2020 P&L. You know, if that impacts what you want to do, that's fine. It was going to show a loss. They believe they're on the track to becoming profitable this year. Different model than what they had originally intended. Wholesale versus retail, less money, but still the ability to turn a profit. Basically what they're looking to do, our collateral is a second mortgage on a piece of property here in town. That was going to be an art center that's owned with 2 other partners in a different LLC. After several years of trying to get something started, it's just, they're giving up on it. There is a potential buyer for the property who would be looking to turn it into a restaurant / potential brewery project. They would, the owner of SVR Hemp would get some proceeds out of that, nowhere near enough to cover the loan. He would like to offer substitute collateral, which is his wood slab inventory. You liked my wood is the new gold comment? Yeah.
I watch Gold Rush on TV and wood is not gold. I know exactly what it is.
Yeah, but do you,
Me and Parker Schnabel.
yeah, but what about the swamp people who are pulling the logs out of the bayou though? So.
All right.
Yeah, all right. So he would like to, oh, and Evan pointed out at one point, I transposed my numbers. It's 3.1 million worth of wood inventory. 1 point in here, I said it was only 1.3. 3.1 million estimated wood value inventory. He would like to transfer that as collateral so he could sell his partnership interest, and well, they would sell the whole thing of the property here in Delhi to make way for a new business. Not only is he requesting that, but he's also requesting not having to put any of the proceeds of that sale towards the loan because it's basically taking money from one hand, you know, from one pocket, putting it in the other, but he feels it would shortchange SVR Hemp as they're still trying to get their business growing because it's an up and coming business.
My only thought on that
You want to,
is that we're gonna be in a better position collateral wise because we're in the second position on the building.
Right, and it is owned within a partnership. It could make it messy.
So it's this is an unsecured loan anyway. So I think we should go ahead and do it. My only comment is I think we should make sure there's insurance
Mhm.
on those wood slabs.
Glenn, is the governor's policy on this hemp and everything else related to marijuana and stuff changed requirements? I have a company, a business in the village that was selling like CBD product, and they're going out of business because the governor's requiring a $4,500 license fee.
Yeah, there was that. That fee didn't hurt them, but basically everybody started growing hemp and everybody was going to sell it online in their own specific
it
retail
was like
places.
gold.
Exactly. Going back to the gold
I know.
analogy.
It's
So
like saying it's like money in the bank. Well,
Yeah,
no,
but-
money in the bank is money in the bank. If you don't, we chat just a bit
Yeah,
about
yeah.
this. One thing I had concern when I read this, it was that on $100,000 note, we took a second mortgage on a building that in reality was worth like $25,000.
his share of it. Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because then that was our collateral on the 100,000. The second mortgage worth 3/4 less than what, anyway.
That's why I said what I said.
Only a little homeowner,
Unsecured
you know,
loan.
just a little more due diligence. The other thing is about the wood. Instead of having like 3 estimates of what this wood is worth, he's got one price list from some guy in Connecticut telling us that this is worth $3.1 million.
Right.
The other thing is like Jim said, this is a commodity. The wood could burn. Okay, it's got to be insured. Is our wood being segregated from the other wood? It's in this Quonset hut made with steel piping and plastic sheeting or something.
Right, we can make all, I mean, obviously,
And I
it is
don't like
insured.
the idea of waiving the rule of a down payment on the note. Maybe he should sell some of the wood, give us $25,000 on the note, and then we know what the wood is worth. Just a thought, just a little more due diligence, that's all.
Okay.
Do we have personal guarantees?
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, I'm in agreement. I mean, you got a $3.1 million worth of lumber. Sell some of it.
Agree.
I don't get it. I mean, this
Well,
doesn't
he
matter.
does use that on the Hushman Co., a separate business where they use it to make their furniture.
Make a lot of money on the furniture.
They do make.
They're all custom made pieces.
Okay.
I mean, the guy is current. I mean, that's good. The guy is current with what he's doing and everything else,
Yeah.
but it's like, now we're gonna push the envelope a little bit farther. We
Mhm.
really don't know. And the wood is, some other businesses would, and I just don't like the fact that that second mortgage on this $100,000 property turned out to be worth about 25 grand on a $100,000 note. And by the way, we're just gonna waive the rule that you have to pay anything. I think we're really open to question. That's all.
Mhm.
That's all. I mean, it's up to the group.
Well, I think we don't tell him that he has to sell the wood. We tell him that he has to make a payment on it or a down payment, as you're
Yeah.
saying. He can do it from whatever he wants.
Exactly.
But getting out of the situation we're in is a very wise move.
Okay.
I think we're better off.
All
So,
right.
Oh, yeah.
I'll make that motion subject to the changes we've discussed.
I'll second that.
Okay.
and also the motion should authorize Glenn to negotiate it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Audit review and the LDC.
I didn't really have anything to add on the LDC. You know, our income was down, but that's because we had 6 months worth of deferrals, you know, so other than that, our assets increased more than our liabilities.
That's always a good thing.
Right, we're moving in the right direction.
Was there anybody on the deferrals, was there anybody that hasn't asked for a deferral that maybe we should see if they want one that's behind in things?
I don't think any of the people who refuse the deferral are behind.
In other words, we're helping out quite a few people and that's what we're supposed to do.
I mean, on the IDA side, there's 2 separate loans under Ross. He said, no, I don't
Okay.
need it. Yeah, anybody who, and then there was the cabinet shop, he said no. So anybody who didn't take it, their specific answer was, I don't need it.
Okay.
Well, that's good. It tells us they're still doing strong, so.
Yeah, and none of them are behind.
Oh, that's good.
You know, anybody who didn't take it isn't behind.
Beautiful.
Any other old or new business? George?
I need for one of my best clients, an old warehouse or an old barn that could store about 200 automobiles.
Wow.
Classic automobiles.
Wow.
That's a big,
You pay
That's
up to
big.
250,000.
Have to
Okay.
be.
Ooh.
200 vehicles?
How many square feet would that be?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can stack them on top of one.
It's gonna be like 200 square feet of car.
I would think, yeah.
We're gonna walk around it.
Yeah, more than that, just to be able to walk around and get them.
You could always try Board Parker and Hancock again. Maybe Dave Niven would give it up this time.
I think we'll let somebody else.
We got
try
easy
mine.
on off on the 4-lane.
Can I just ask one question?
Yeah, sure.
Glenn, do you have any details about the marijuana dispensaries? I heard in one of the committee meetings that either each municipality has to opt in. Is it just the towns? Is it?
I don't
is
know
it the county?
anything about, I
Okay.
don't know anything
Okay.
about it, but I'll look into it.
I'm hearing the same thing, but you haven't heard anybody just like, here's the site, this is what it says. No, everybody has some idea what's going on, but
Right, my question is, would it be a county decision or would it be in each individual town, whether you want a dispensary?
The town of Hempstead just opted out of it.
They
Hempstead,
did?
New York, Long Island.
it sounds like it, again, who knows? It sounds like it's towns, like Delhi could be a dry town.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah, I don't think the county.
And I don't know why there's probably tax revenue involved that you'd be giving up.
Sales
That's
tax
what,
revenue?
yeah, that's my understanding. So now what do you do?
Yeah, so
I don't know how you
so
can,
deposits in, say Hancock's out, you go get your stuff and deposit, and they
Right.
get the tax money, and you come back and use it for them again. But you never know.
Okay, anything else? Motion to adjourn, please.
thank you for the invite today.
You're welcome.
Yes.
I appreciate your time.
Thanks for
Really
coming.
do.
How good we gonna?
I move we adjourn.
Thank you. Sean, if you care to have some lunch, we.